So, hello friends, let us now learn about the contrast media in GIT. So, in the contrast media in the GIT, there are different types of contrast media which are available and which can be given to the patient. And the first or earliest or the first contrast media which is used is actually an iodized oil. This iodized oil is also called as lipoidal. Iodized oil or lipoidal is one of the contrast media which is used earlier. And this iodized oil, because it is an oil, it is oily in nature, and because of this oily nature, it does not coat the mucosa. Okay, but the present right now the contrast media of choice is barium sulfate. Barium sulfate is actually the contrast media of choice, and thus it is used in different procedures in the recent days. Now, why do we use this barium sulfate? What are the reasons for using barium? Reasons for using barium. Why this barium sulfate is very important or very good in using? Why is it the choice, a contrast media of choice? One, this barium or Ba has high atomic number. That is, it has almost 56. Its atomic number is 56. And therefore, it is actually highly radio opaque. Because it is radio opaque, it is seen as white color on X-rays. Next, this barium sulfate is non-absorbable. It is not absorbed into the GI system or into the blood. And it is also non-toxic. So as a result, it is not toxic to human beings, so can be used as a contrast media. Then it is not soluble in water, and it is even not soluble in lipid also. So this is somewhat like inert, which is not soluble in water and not soluble in lipid. Then it is inert to tissues. It does not enter the tissues also. So as a result, it just coats the tissues, but it does not enter the tissues also. So as a result, it is used in double contrast studies also. If you have to do a double contrast study, which you will be learning in the coming lectures, in these also we can use this barium sulfate. Good. Then what are the properties of ideal burial preparation? This barium should be prepared. Okay, there are some steps in for preparation of the barium sulfate. After preparing barium sulfate, when do you say that this barium sulfate is very good and it is ideal? So when do you, for that we have some properties. So based on the properties, we can say whether the barium which is synthesized or prepared by us, whether it is good or not for contrast studies. Number one, you should know the high density for optimum study being performed. Whether the barium sulfate which is prepared, is it okay for density? Does it have optimum density or not? It should be taken into account. Next, whether it is a stable suspension, because if it is not a stable suspension, it will settle down. If it is not a stable suspension, it will settle down. But this barium sulfate should not settle down, because if it is a stable suspension, it will not settle down. Then it is a good barium sulfate preparation. It should not form flocculation with uh, secretions, because in our body we have different types of secretions. If we are using it for gastrointestinal system, we have secretions from salivary secretions to pancreatic, intestinal secretions, gastric secretions. All of them are present, and we should make sure that these secretions do not precipitate the barium. So we have to prepare the barium in such a way that it does not flocculate with secretions. Then this barium has low melting point. Because of this low melting, it is good and stable for mucosal coating. So it will give a good and stable mucosal coating. So if you remember the first type of contrast which is used, earliest type of contrast which is used is iodized oil. It does not coat mucosa. Whereas if the barium, because of its lower melting point, it coats the mucosa. And that is one reason why this barium sulfate is the ideal contrast agent of choice in the present day. Now, what are the advantages of What are the advantages of barium sulfate preparation? Why is it good? Why is it important? So if you see advantages of barium sulfate preparation, number one, it is not absorbable. Okay, because it is not absorbable, it does not enter the bowel. That is number one. It is not degradable also, because it is not degradable, it does not break down in the blob, in the bowel. So it is not degradable. And this barium sulfate is also suitable for double contrast studies. If you wanted to do a double contrast studies, this barium is very suitable, and it is also good for double contrast studies. Because this barium will coat mucosa has a thin layer. Because it coats mucosa has a thin layer, because of this, you can also introduce, so you can introduce the second contrast medium also. Second or negative contrast can also be introduced. And this contrast can also coat again. So it is used in double contrast studies also. So these are the important advantages, properties or reasons for using ideal barium preparation. So this is about important points about barium. Now in the next class we will learn about the manufacture. How do you manufacture? How do you prepare the barium sulfate solution? Thank you.